What's up, Headliner Nation? Kyle back with the Fantasy Headliners, and it's time to dive into my rankings for wide receivers here in Week 1. Before we talk about the rankings, a couple of reminders that you need to keep in mind before you watch everything. Number one, okay, we do our start and sit videos to talk about every single matchup on the slate. We then jump over to our rankings to key in on a few guys and to show you where we actually have all of these guys ranked. Okay, so in this episode here, we may not talk about every single person, but that is why you have to use the start sit videos and the rankings videos in conjunction to really get a whole picture of what we're looking at here for Week 1. And my other reminder, okay, we try to get to as many questions and comments as we possibly can. It is physically, we can't, okay? We just can't do it. So, if you need help from the Fantasy Headliners and you want guaranteed answers to all of your questions, you can head over to Patreon. There is a link in the description down below. $10 a month. If you sign up, we guarantee responses to all of your questions that you send us on Patreon, okay? And if you want to play some DFS, you can bump up and get that and get all of Chris Kennedy's picks and optimizer information as well for DFS. But there you have it. That's it. It's time to jump into the rankings because we got to talk about my top 30 for Week 1. All right, peeps, we're going to start at the back and work our way forward. So let's start at number 30 and talk about who we've got down there to begin with. Julian Edelman at 30. We'll see how things go. New quarterback Cam Newton. Heard there might be a little bit of a connection issue in camp. Cam Newton might not be looking the best right now, but hey, doesn't matter. We'll see in Week 1. And even if the connection isn't that great in Week 1, we got to give it a little bit of time, okay? Tyler Boyd highlighted there for me. Tyler Boyd, listen, AJ Green, we don't know what we're going to be getting from him right away, right? He missed a lot of football last year. He dealt with a hamstring injury again in camp. Is he going to be limited? Are they going to limit his snaps? If they do, Tyler Boyd is going to be the wide receiver 1 on this team until AJ Green is fully healthy and getting a full workload. It'll be interesting to keep in mind, but I think they're going to be tossing the ball quite a bit. They want Joe Burrow to go out and run with it, okay? Not necessarily run with it, okay? Not in the absolute sense, but they want Joe Burrow to go out and take full control of the offense. They're going to want him to showcase that arm. They're going to want him to throw it. They want him to get into the system, get familiar with it, be comfortable with it, all of those things. So expect them to air it out a little bit. Expect them to be full go come Week 1, and Tyler Boyd's going to be the main beneficiary of that. Another guy I want to highlight, DeSean Jackson. I tell you what, he is going to drop a deuce on the Washington football team. Such a big one that OBJ is going to get on an airplane and head out there because he's going to be so excited. Expect DeSean Jackson to have a big game this week. He's going to take one to the house. Obviously, you've got some concerns around him as wide receivers go. Jalen Reagor may or may not be ready to roll. There might be a little bit of a discontent in the Philadelphia Eagles nation. Zach Ertz doesn't sound super happy with the way the contract negotiations are going on. Does that spill over into the field at all? Whatever it may be, doesn't matter. The one thing we know is DeSean Jackson's going to eat in Week 1. Marquise Brown at 27. Looking forward to seeing him on the field 100% healthy. Will Fuller. All right, let me tell you a little bit of a story here about Will Fuller, okay? If you own a sports car and you live in the Midwest, we'll say, or the East, and you live in a climate where it snows, you only get to drive that sports car, maybe 6-7 months out of the year, maybe 8, depending on where you live, okay? If not, pretty cold, snowy, crappy weather. So when you have the ability to drive your sports car, you do it, right? You don't leave your sports car in the garage during the summer months, all right? If it's nice out, you got that baby out and it's purring. Will Fuller is that sports car, ladies and gentlemen. You did not draft him to sit him on the bench when he is healthy. You drafted him to play him when he is healthy. Let's get him into our lineups in Week 1 the best way possible. Now, am I telling you to sit a bunch of wide receiver 1s and wide receiver 2s over him? Maybe not. But Will Fuller could have a day. And quite honestly, he could end up going even higher in my rankings by the time kickoff gets here because of Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks apparently is feeling a little bit better now, could end up being back for this week. We got to keep an eye on that, okay? So Will Fuller, he is a guy we're definitely going to be playing this week. Stephon Diggs, first week in his new offense. Let's see how that ends up playing out for him. Tyler Lockett. Is the emergence of DK Metcalf as a possible true wide receiver one going to harm him this year? We'll see a little bit more this week. Cortland Sutton, I have my concerns. There's a lot of receiving options around him. He should still be the number one. He should still get peppered with targets. And honestly, here in week one, he could see a decent amount of those as well. Denver just lost Von Miller. Tennessee could easily go into Denver and get a win here. They might have to throw it a little bit. Odell Beckham Jr. coming off a I was going to say something there, but maybe the joke is too long lasted at this point. Let's move on from that. Odell Beckham Jr., a tough matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, but still a guy I'm excited for this season, even if week one isn't the best week of the year. DK Metcalf. I like DK Metcalf, okay? But I got to see where him and Tyler Lockett separate a little bit. All right. That's why I've got them both down as kind of, low end wide receiver twos right now, because who's really going to establish themselves? Who's really going to step out of the box and become that guy? That's what I want to see. I also want to see Will Dissly fully healthy. Is he on the field? Is he included in the game plan right away in a full capacity? Greg Olsen. What's Greg Olsen going to be like in that offense? So we got to navigate some things in week one, ladies and gentlemen. It's a little bit of a different scenario this year than what we faced in the past. We haven't really seen a whole lot so far this offseason, so we have to test these waters and go through them a little bit together. So don't expect don't be surprised if there's a few up and downs to begin the first few weeks here as we kind of navigate and try to figure out where exactly guys are at. Terry McLaurin, love some Terry McLaurin this year. Looking forward to seeing him in week one. T.Y. Hilton, fully healthy, out there ready to roll. The wide receiver twos in that offense, they've been injured this year. So is he going to be the main target there? Is he going to be the guy that's going to be looked at a lot in week one? It's quite possible, but it's also possible that they end up running the ball an awful lot. DJ Chark, a guy that I was kind of low on all off season long because, is Gardner Minshew really the guy? Is he going to be able to push the ball down the field? Well, they don't have anybody, and they got rid of Leonard Fournette, who was one of their main pass catchers last year. Okay, so there's going to be a ton of volume to go around. Their defense is not that good, and I'm being nice there. Their defense sucks, and they're going to have to throw it quite a bit. So DJ Chark could be a guy that we see break out here in week one in terms of getting ready for a fantastic season. Amari Cooper at number 17. I've got him highlighted there. Why? Because I'm going to have to see what happens this week. I have him lower, okay? As a hashtag always Amari truther, I've got him at 17. And maybe that surprises you a little bit, and maybe he could be even a little bit lower. But this is the week where we really find out how Mike McCarthy is going to game plan. If they are giving him anywhere between 40 and 50% of his snaps in the slot, Amari Cooper is going to be a high-end wide receiver too this week, okay? If they are not, if they are going to keep him outside more often and Jalen Ramsey's on him the entire game, then yeah, it's going to be a tough week for Amari Cooper, and you're probably going to see CeeDee Lamb eat a little bit, and you're going to see probably Michael Gallup be the biggest beneficiary of that. It all comes down to, do they get Amari Cooper into the slot? They have two good weapons in him and CeeDee Lamb. It would be a travesty for them to just put CeeDee Lamb in the slot and not rotate those guys back and forth and get some great mismatches. Okay, they should be moving those guys around a little bit. That's what we got to see. I got him a little bit lower this week. My heart still tells me that they're going to end up putting him in the slot. My head still tells me that they're going to end up putting him in the slot. My research still tells me he's going to play in the slot quite a bit. If they don't do it, though, then yes, that's going to dramatically change what happens. But as long as you have him as your wide receiver, too, you should be good. Cooper Kupp, touchdown dependent. How is the move to 12 personnel going to affect him? Wasn't great in it last year. Is he going to be okay on the outside? A.J. Brown. Now that there's not any Von Miller this week, A.J. Brown could be in for a big week because Ryan Tannehill's probably going to have a little bit more time to throw the ball. Yeah, they still have Bradley Chubb. Yeah, they still have Jurrell Casey in Denver. But with A.J. Brown, a little bit more time for Tannehill to throw the ball means more big playability down the field. Calvin Ridley at 14 in a game that should be a shootout. That offense should be clicking, baby. Should be moving. At number 13, my boy Keenan Allen. There's no Mike Williams right now. Okay, you've got Hunter Henry, you've got Keenan Allen, you've got Austin Eckler. In a game in which is probably going to be a little bit back and forth, the Chargers are going to have to throw the ball quite a bit. Expect Keenan Allen to see a decent amount of targets this week. Robert Woods, Bobby Trees at number 12. Again, a lot of that volume I think is going to go his way this season and in week 1 against a Dallas secondary that still kind of out on. You know, I'm feeling out that Dallas secondary a little bit. That's who he gets this week. He could end up having a big week in terms of volume, and we heard there towards the end of training camp that him and Jared Goff were starting to connect a little bit better on the deep pass. At number 11, Mike Evans, and we are monitoring this situation closely. Now, if you're watching this video and you didn't check out the injury video earlier with our Dr. Ethan Turner, make sure you check that out as well. But I'm monitoring this closely. If you have Mike Evans and we end up finding out that he's good to go, maybe he gets, a little bit more practice in before Sunday, I'm okay with the start. However, if we find that he continues to be limited all the way up until game time, he is going to bump down in my rankings. So this is one of those volatile guys this week that I'm kind of feeling out. I'm waiting to see what happens. I need to see how healthy he is. I need to hear a little bit more, and we'll talk about Chris Godwin here in a minute. At number 10, Juju SmithSchuster, he gets his boy Ben Roethlisberger back. I'm going to go ahead and buy into him here in week 1. He should have a pretty big game against that New York Giants secondary. I'm feeling Juju, and again, he gets to move back to the slot a little bit more. He's got a couple of wide receivers that can now play on the outside. They're a little bit more advanced than they were 1 year ago today. I'm thinking he moves back to the slot and he's just fine. DeAndre Hopkins at number 9, a guy on a new offense. We'll see what happens. I'm a little bit lower on him right now just because he's not going to be the target hog that I think he was, but they just paid him. He's in the plans. This is a guy that's going to be around in Arizona for a while now. We'll see what ends up happening with him. Should still end up having a good week. DJ Moore, a guy, again, a little bit lower on this offseason, had him just outside my wide receiver ones. He was a big name that I'm kind of avoiding. I need to see this week. I need to see Teddy Bridgewater. I need to see this offense. I need to see how he pushes the ball down the field. I need to see how he helps open things up for that big play. Again, if he's having trouble pushing the ball down the field, I understand DJ Moore is not the deep threat. It's Robbie Anderson. I got a lot of comments, concerns, questions about this over the offseason because I said I was worried about DJ Moore's big playability. Why am I worried about DJ Moore's big playability? Not necessarily going 20, 30 yards down the field, but it's those receptions and those yards after the catch, those short routes that he runs where he possibly, was picking up maybe 10 yards after the catch last year or so. Maybe that goes away a little bit this year. If Teddy Bridgewater can't push the ball down the field, it allows those safeties to creep up a little bit closer, and it allows them to keep an eye on DJ Moore. It allows them to give a little bit more help to the cornerback on DJ Moore, and it allows to them to get to him a little bit quicker because they're not necessarily paying attention to what's going on behind them. Yeah, Kyle Allen was not the greatest last year, and DJ Moore still did just fine with him, but it's just something to keep an eye on and monitor. This is a new offense, a new scheme. There's a lot of things that could happen here. So keep an eye on it. And again, we'll see maybe a little bit more after this week what happens. All right, Headliner Nation. I want to take just a second, okay? Because I'm going to invite a friend of mine in to help talk about a guy that you're not seeing in the rankings this week. And I want him just to, throw a little bit of truth at you and discuss this. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's work some magic here and bring in my buddy, Swag Rich. Oh, baby. That's right, Swag Rich in the house. And let me tell you, okay, my boy K-Rich had to bring me in here to have a little discussion with you because some of you are hating on him for his sit Adam Thielen take this week, okay? And I want to spit a little bit of truth at you, okay? If you don't want to listen to my boy K-Rich, maybe you'll listen to the swagster himself. Let me explain something to you about Adam Thielen, okay? This is a guy that without Stephon Diggs, even though he saw more volume in those games in the past, he saw less efficiency, okay? And that's a concern for us here at the Fantasy Headliners. If that efficiency goes down, what's going to happen? Also, this is a time now where Adam Thielen is going to have to face cornerback ones. Yeah, in the past, you guys have been like, he's great, he does this, he does that, blah, blah, blah. He's never had to face cornerback ones in the past. Stephon Diggs has those cornerback ones, okay? He's going to have to move to the outside a little bit more, especially if they run more 12 personnel. So the question this week is, can Adam Thielen get about 50% of his snaps in the slot? If that happens, Adam Thielen could have a good week. But if Adam Thielen has to play outside against cornerback ones a majority of the time, then ladies and gentlemen, you're probably going to be a little bit upset about what you get from Adam Thielen in week 1. Now, we don't think Adam Thielen sucks in any way, shape, or form. Good football player, all right? But the evidence is there to suggest that Adam Thielen could struggle a little bit this year, even though he's going to get a ton of volume. A big misconception in the industry is more volume equals more success. If you're a running back, okay, yeah, maybe we can argue that a little bit more, but there's also a difference between good volume and bad. And just because they try to force the ball to Adam Thielen a bunch doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see some of those big plays that he used to have, okay? Again, some of that efficiency could go down, and if it does, could Justin Jefferson step up? Okay. Are they going to continue to run the football as much as they did last year? Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith Jr., are they going to have more 2 tight end sets, some more 12 personnel? If they've got 12 personnel, Adam Thielen has to be outside. He doesn't play in the slot if that happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little bit of that truth there. Wanted to clarify for you. Saw some hate on that Adam Thielen sit. We just want to make sure you understand why. All right, let's wrap it back up. We got to get Rich back in here to finish up his top 10 wide receivers. Let's go, baby. All right, well, hopefully you all enjoy that little magic trick I've been working on with Swagridge there. We've been practicing a lot lately. So there you go, a little bit of a take on Adam Thielen because I got so many questions about him. But let's hop back over and finish off the rankings here real quick. Allen Robinson at number 7. For some reason or another, Mitchell Trubisky has success against the Lions. I don't understand why. We'll see what happens this year. I'm still going to play him, though, because he's Allen Robinson, and he's due for a fantastic season. Kenny Golladay at number 6. Heard maybe a little bit of a hamstring issue, maybe just a little bit of one, but other than that, haven't really seen anything to suggest that he's going to be limited or hurt or anything this week. So we're going to continue to roll out big play Golladay, as we call him here now at the Fantasy Headliners. Chris Godwin at number 5. Love me some Chris Godwin this week, especially if we see issues with Mike Evans. Now, some of the difference that we see between, Chris Godwin doesn't have Mike Evans to help take the pressure off. You said that that's an issue with Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen. Well, here's the difference. Here is the difference. They still have Gronk. They still have O.J. Howard. They still have other pass catchers out of the back, okay? Whether it's they try to use LaShawn McCoy, whether it's they try to use Leonard Fournette, whether they, all these things, okay? Rojo even. We'll even bring his name up. They've got some better weapons to still help keep that pressure off, okay? That's why I don't have any concerns about Chris Godwin this week. Okay, we're still going to roll with Chris Godwin. Julio Jones at number 4. Julio Jones, again, big time playmaker. We know that. Hopefully my boy can find the end zone this week and return some mega value for you all. Tyreek Hill, dealt with a little bit of a hammy over the last few weeks, but looks to be trending towards week 1 just fine. That's going to be a big game, okay? That's going to be a big game tonight. Kansas City, Houston. Tyreek Hill could have himself a huge week 1. Keep an eye on it. At number 2, Devontae Adams. Okay, Devontae Adams in week 1. The one concern I have about Devontae Adams is that he gets his in the first half of the game, and then they switch to running the football much more in the second half of the game. Okay, I need to see a big first half from Devontae Adams. If he doesn't have it, I'm concerned in that second half he may not get it. I think he gets it, though. That's why I've got him at number 2, and I'm not worried about it. And then, of course, Michael Thomas at number 1. Okay, he's going to be there quite often this year, and this is a good matchup for him. So let's roll with him at number 1. There you have it, Headliner Nation. Wide receiver rankings are done. Finish. Vamos. Out the door. We're getting ready for week 1. Enjoy the game tonight. Houston and KC. It's going to be fun to watch. We finally got football back. Do me a favor. Don't forget, hit the like button on this video if you appreciate the content. If you're new to the Fantasy Headliners, hit the subscribe button. Become a part of Headliner Nation today. And if you've got questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and we will try to get to as many as possible. But if you want guaranteed answers, make sure you hit up Patreon. Only $10 a month to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out of here. Got more content to record and more stuff to get ready for week 1. Have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.